I got approved for Sardinia's 15k euro grant for buying a house here in Novi, and a few days ago I was told that the money has arrived and that it was time to proceed with the next steps. So I went to the local council to ask some questions, understand what I need to do next, and then made another time to see them and complete all the requirements. Now, as of today, it's all done. Now I just sit back and wait for my money to appear in my bank account. I can't believe it. I seriously can't believe it. What an incredible blessing. This money will allow me to start getting the renovations underway, which I can then share with all of you. So if you want to learn more about how this works, and if you would be eligible too, stick around for the rest of this video. Hello and welcome. My name is Bianca, and in 2024, almost a year ago, I bought a cheap house in this little town called Novi on the island, the beautiful island of Sardinia. Today, I want to talk to you about the financial incentive that the Sardinia regional government is paying out to people who buy a house and move here, and potentially address any questions about it you may have. But before we do that, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and feel free to share this video. If you'd like to support my renovation journey, you are welcome to buy me a wine. See the link in the description to do so, and thank you to those who already have done so. Every dollar I receive is going towards my house and gives me more freedom to produce videos like this one. So I'm very grateful for your generosity in advance. Oh, and if you happen to be experiencing any of the new YouTube auto dubbing and you want to turn it off, you can do that in your settings as well. So let's get to the details and address any questions you may have. Firstly, why are they offering this grant? If you're following this channel and others like this, you probably are aware of the incentives and the intentions behind these grants, but basically the 15k euro, of course, is part of a regional initiative designed to attract new residents to certain small towns and villages in Sardinia. Of course, this is happening all over Italy. This grant was introduced to combat population decline in rural areas. I find it very interesting when Sardinians ask me why I moved here and am I happy here, which is literally everyone I meet. They can't believe it when I say that I'm from Australia, because obviously that's on the other side of the world. And they also can't believe it when I say that I'm happy here. I guess some people view places like Novi as, I don't know, maybe like a dead zone or a boring town with nothing to do. And I can actually relate to this feeling. I was someone who grew up in a town with around 50,000 people. And when I left there to move to the city and beyond, abroad, I vowed never to go back. I wanted to explore the world. I wanted to live in other places. So I suspect that's why people are surprised that I'm here, because maybe they feel the same pull that I felt towards exploring. They have the same desires to see something beyond their little piece of the world, as beautiful as it is. I guess the difference is that some people don't have the courage, or they don't, for whatever reason, believe that they can. I also think there's the grass is always greener argument, where people forget how good they have it, because the people here in Sardinia and in Novi have it pretty damn good, but that's a whole other conversation. If we talk about why people have moved away from these little towns, I think we're now talking about perceived opportunity. Smaller places typically have less opportunity, perceived anyway, and if you have a dream to explore, plus find an abundance of opportunity, sometimes it serves you to move somewhere else, and this is not just happening in Italy. I would have never had the opportunities I've had I not lived abroad or in other places. That's just how it goes. Would I have stayed in my hometown had there been all those opportunities? Absolutely not. I'm adventurous and I like to explore and feel the freedom. of traveling, of meeting new people and seeing different cultures in action. So I'm more about the adventure than I am about the opportunity. Some people want a family and to settle down and live a simple life. That was me for about 5 seconds. And then I got bored and I got on another plane. So as I mentioned, the government is trying to, that sun, is trying to repopulate. They're trying to attract people back to these places that people have left or continue to leave or float between. And I think that humans are going through a cycle now where they still want adventure, but they also want to be in places where they can find peace. And places like Sardinia are definitely where you can find some peace. The other thing that people sometimes forget is that today we have technology. And while not all work can be done anywhere, a lot of it can. So those younger generations who want to stay in their hometown and work can actually find an abundance of it if they want it badly enough. At least that's my belief, because that is what I'm doing, and I'm 44. Okay, but I digress. So let's get back to talking about this grant. By the way, have you subscribed to my channel yet? If you haven't, just do so now. So let's talk about the rules. Now, of course, I'm sure you understand by now that to be eligible for the grant, you have to buy a property, because the grant is for renovating your house. So you find an eligible town, you buy a house, and you put in an application. Now let's talk more about eligibility for this grant. Now, the first rule, so to speak, is that the town must have less than 3,000 people. Which towns are eligible, you might ask? Well, you can search online for these. ChatGPT actually gave me a list of eligible towns, so you can easily do the same. Around here, where I live in Novi, there are many towns, and many of these are on the list. So there's a town called Laeru, Perfugas, Chiaramonti, Martis, Sedini, Badesi, which is close to the sea, and these are all part of the incentive. So if you want to be near Alghero or Olbia or down south in Cagliari, basically these eligible towns are all over Sardinia. You just have to decide where you want to buy and make sure that it's on the approved list, which means the town will have less than 3,000 inhabitants. Numero 2, rule number 2, you have to renovate the property. As mentioned, the grant is all about renovating the property that you're going to live in. There are timelines that apply, and these will depend on the town you purchase in, but usually it's within 3 years. That is definitely the case here. So this 3 years is post the grant approval, not post the purchase of the house, from what I have understood. So that 3 years begins when I signed the contract to receive the money from the comune, the local council, which is awesome because I bought my house about a year ago, so it gives me a little more time than I originally thought I had. Will this be monitored? Well, I can't be sure of exactly what this will look like. When I asked at the council, I was informed that a vigile, I guess he's a kind of police officer, will knock at my door at some point to check in to make sure I'm still here. I'm told that these checks will happen once a year, but let's not forget that this is Italy and maybe they won't come at all. Or maybe they'll come knocking on my door regularly. I have no idea. Who knows? I will report back when it happens. Rule number 3. Boy, oh boy, the sun is bright today. You have to commit to living here full time for around 5 years, people. Yes, friends, you've got to move here. This isn't a holiday house situation. Although in reality, I guess there's no real control of this and you could eventually make it into one, but that's not what the government wants. They want people to move here and live here, so you may not get the grant if you don't follow these rules. However, the definition of full-time, the definition of full-time is 183 days, 6 months and 3 days to be exact. So you could do 6 months and 3 days here, and then the other rest of the year, the other 6 months elsewhere. I personally think a European summer and then an Australian summer would be an amazing way to live. And I often did dream of this. So I think people who choose to buy in Sardinia or in Italy do have quite a bit of flexibility and freedom to move around according to this definition of full-time. I will add that my time here in Novi, while short, it's been 9 months so far. Damn, that has just flown. And my time here has been a whirlwind because it's been a huge shift for me, but I have been welcomed and accepted in ways that I had not anticipated. People here in Novi love new people. And sure, some people are a little shy, but on the whole, even though I came here, just me, no prospects of growing a family or anything, and I still feel loved by the people here. I have more than 2 hands of people who I feel this way about. So I'm sure that if you're like me, a solo woman or a younger couple or a family, there would be a lot of love for you here and really anywhere in Sardinia. The people here are super nice and they love for you to get involved and become part of the town. But that is the key, get involved. You'll also have more fun that way because you'll meet more people, make more friends, and everyone wants to know about you and they want to know about your life. They are so curious to ask you things and they love when you share and show interest in them too. I have had invites to so many things, all because I've put myself out there and made an effort and will continue to do so. Rule number 4 to be eligible for the grant is you must become a resident of the town that you move to. You don't, however, have to do this immediately, and it is not a requirement to receive the money. You have 18 months from the purchase of the house to get your residency, and this is a requirement to be eligible for the grant. The Comune, the local council, does 6 monthly checks on residents. One is, I believe, around January, so I'm guessing the other one is July-ish. The deed of sale, which is completed with the notary, with also the buyer and the seller and the agent, is when that 18-month countdown begins. That's the 18-month countdown for residency. Now, residency, I'm told, is a pretty quick process, like a 15-minute application and a small payment. At least that's for the Italian, and I'm guessing EU citizens. I'm yet to do it myself, but we'll let you know when I do. Activating residency has other implications, which is why I'm personally choosing to wait it out as long as I can. I forgot an important part of the video, so extra disheveled Bianca is adding this post-filming yesterday. I want to talk about the application process. So question 1, is there a deadline? Now, I believe each year there is a deadline. I was told last year that the deadline was the 31st of March. So of course we got our paperwork in by that time. How do you know if you'll get approved? Well, the short answer is you don't. I think the best thing to do is to submit it as early as you can, of course. I was told that both my friend and I were on the top of the list for 2 reasons. The first reason, we got in first, and the second reason, we're foreigners, and so we were more desirable. Now, I submitted my application with my Australian passport, not my Italian. So if the other people on the list were Italians, I can't imagine they would have been locals, then we would have been the preference, ultimately. So when and how do you get notified? I only found out that the application was approved from my friend initially. When I later went into the Comune, the local council, the guy who arranges the grants told me that I'd been approved, but that it was taking longer than usual for the money to come in. He said March or April of 2025, and at that stage it must have been around August or September of last year, 2024. Now, when the money was officially here, which was just last week, I received a very formal email with a bunch of documents attached, and they, I believe, are the documents I ultimately had to sign to receive the money. And so I then went into the office and discussed the next steps, which are all now done. How long did it take overall? Another important question here. So from the purchase of the house to the receiving of the money, which, as you know, hasn't happened yet, but I'm told it should be in my bank account in under a month, it will have been around 12 months. So don't expect this to happen any quicker than that, and I'm sure that there are occasions when it could take longer. So if you're wanting to start the work right away with that money, you may be disappointed. Now, what if you miss out on the deadline or you don't get approved when you apply? Keep applying. I believe that you'll have to resubmit an application the next year, but if they see you've applied previously and you're eligible, you'll probably then move to the top of the list. Okay, so I just wanted to insert that little bit. Back to the other stuff I recorded yesterday. So will you get the 15k euro? The short answer is yes. And what I mean by will you get it is, will you get the full amount? The rule states that you get 50% of your purchase price up until 15k. So you would have to spend 30k to get the full 15k. So spend 40k or more and you'll still only get 15k. However, spend 15k and you'll get 7.5k. So if you get less than the 15k, how is it possible that you receive the rest? Basically, you have to do the renovations on your house and produce the receipts. So if you do 10k of work, then you'd be able to receive another 5k, and that is counted up until a total of 15k. So in effect, everyone who applies and is approved will receive the full amount, the full 15k. It just might not be an upfront payment. Now, in my situation, I'm not sure if I will get the full amount or not upfront. I will literally find this out when I receive the money into my account. That's just the way it works here sometimes. But to give you a little bit more detail about that, I spent 26k on the house and another 4.5-ish was split between the agent and the notary. And as of my most recent meeting at the Kommune, the agent fees count, but we're not sure if the notary fees do. So that's towards the total purchase of the property. So if the notary fees don't count, then I'll receive 14k because that will be the purchase plus the agent fees, which come to 28k. Then once I complete another 2k of work, I will take the receipts to the Kommune and they will reimburse me the other 1k, which will total 15k. Another question you might have, how do you receive the money and does it have to be spent on the house? Now, while I haven't received the money yet, I was advised this will be deposited into my Italian bank account. So yes, you will need one of these, but they're easy enough to set up. You just need to make an appointment with the bank. As for what you do with the money, well, that's up to you. Of course, you are required to renovate your house within 3 years. So the money can go towards the house now or later, whatever works for you. But honestly, I see it as an absolute gift that I am incredibly grateful to receive because, let's be honest, they could give you nothing. And if I am honest, I didn't buy the house because of the grant. So it is a damn nice bonus to have. And what happens if you don't comply? So by comply, ciao. By comply, I mean do all of the things that you're required to do. So that's get your residency, complete the renos within the 3 years, be seen as living in Sardinia full-time for 5 years. The short answer is you pay the money back. Although the lovely guy, Antonio at the Kommune, did say that you could also be fined. Let's not live in fear, of course. Let's not opt for that. If you're gonna buy a house and commit to renovating it and living here at least half of the year, you may as well apply for the grant. I think most people who are choosing to buy do desire to live here. Most people don't make this decision lightly, and you shouldn't also. Oh, we are going through the smelly part of the town where the cheese factory is. What are my next steps? So once the money comes through, my next steps are to speak with my geometra and make plans to get the work on my place started. First, I'll get a breakdown of the price for the things I want to action and see what I can afford to do first. Since moving in to my house and learning much more about it and how I would like to live in her, I'll call her because I called my house Amelia, my ideas have morphed and changed a lot since I moved in. Now I'm planning to start with the top floor so I can transition up there and then work my way down, or yeah, who knows, really. In reality, it could be that I start from the bottom. I don't know. We will see as we go forward. But I suspect the 15K will not be sufficient for the whole house. Who knows? It may just cover the roof. But it's money I didn't have before, and every bit counts. And I'm excited, so excited to embark on this journey in 2025. It is an experience I have never had, and it's going to be great to experience it. I hope this info has been helpful to those who are considering buying property in Sardinia. In terms of buying in Italy, I'm pretty sure it'll be similar, but you do need to do your due diligence to be sure. If you'd like more information on the grants available, you can go to the region's website, but they are usually all in Italian, which can make understanding more about the details tricky. So feel free to ask any questions in the comments below, or do as I did and ask ChatGPT. Thanks again for stopping by and checking out my channel. I am at the supermarket now, so it's time to go do some grocery shopping. Sending everyone so much love.